recently come across a video. I'm a fan, yes, a YouTuber is a fan of Good Mythical Morning, and I've only just realized something completely bizarre, but in a good way. Society itself is starting to warm up to a certain type of spiritual information, metaphysical information, and recently I've heard about astrology, okay? And in this video of Good Mythical Morning, they were talking about Mercury Retrograde, and then my mind got thrown straight into the past where I remembered watching or hearing somebody noticing Mercury Retrograde problems, hashtag, and they were saying that Mercury Retrograde is supposed to break all of your appliances. You're not supposed to do a certain set series of things during this time. And given my issues yesterday with the video where I was talking about karma, one who has that belief could draw upon that experience within the past and use it to support the foundation of the belief that this period that we are experiencing on Earth, Mercury Retrograde, is in fact bad for all things technology-wise, phones, cameras, trying to get in contact, long distance calls, long distance transactions, anything to do with distance and mechanical things, devices. But what you need to realize is this, and I've noticed this in people, okay? You have people who tend to make excuses as to why their life isn't turning out a certain way. Now don't worry, I'm not attacking you. If you're feeling unsure or kind of, I don't know, if what I just said disturbed you a little bit, just hear me out, okay? You may have seen people like this. They can't go on holiday, they don't have the money, but they have the money, but they don't realize that if they're on holiday, they could actually come up with an opportunity where they end up making more money. So I did do this at one point. I had a certain set amount in my bank account. I was going to record it, but then I thought I'm not going to show everyone on YouTube my bank details, and I may find a way around that. But I was going to record it, right? I didn't have enough to pay rent, but I wanted to go to London to shoot content, okay? And I was sat there on my Todd, just in my chair, thinking to myself, I don't have enough to pay rent at the end of the month, which is in like 20 days from there on. I didn't have enough, right, to pay rent in 20 days and go to London. But what I wasn't thinking about was how much money I was going to make throughout that 20 days and how much more I would have made in order to pay my rent if I had gone to London. Stupid little things like that. And I did go to London, I did make content, and I did make my money back, more so, you know. So a lot of people out there are making excuses not to do things, like seminars, for example, life coaching, which changed their lives, that get rid of blockages. Do they have the money to go to, I know this sounds money based, but just hear me out. This is something in the spiritual community. I myself wanted to go to Teal Swan's event in London, which cost £200. But I had listened to excuses at the time I was with someone who didn't want to go. And rather than saying or pointing out the opposition, you know, the benefits of why we should go. Anyway, there were so many ways we could have got in, but we kept coming up with excuses not to go. And I kind of just, she was making the excuses. I let her make the excuses and I just sat on my Todd once again. If I'd gone, found my way in there, I could have learned something new that I could have put on my YouTube channel, which could have made this thing run better, my YouTube channel run better, make people want to share, like, and comment on the videos more often. But I didn't go, you know, so I myself had made excuses in the past as to why I shouldn't do something that could potentially benefit me. And that is because I could only measure what I would lose. I could never see what I would gain. And nowadays, when I can't see what I can gain, I look at it as an infinity type deal. My potential is huge. I can't even see it. I can't even grasp the notion of how much I would gain if I was just to do whatever it was that in the moment I was thinking about doing. So now I'm not focusing on what I'm gonna lose. That's just stuff that I've lost in the past, you know. And I've heard a Facebook post saying, I haven't lost 1,000 times. I've just figured out 1,000 ways that don't work. Pretty sure that's exactly how it went. And I really like that. whoa, why is the exposure gone so high? Because it made me firm, solid in my belief that every example of the mistakes that my subconscious mind can draw from in order to give me an accurate excuse or reason not to do something was actually just an attempt to do something which didn't work out. So I need to keep looking ahead in that boundless space of infinity that I can't even comprehend. You ever tried that? Trying to measure what you can gain in any given situation, what you could benefit from rather than what you could lose. It's incredibly difficult. You can't keep up with all that information. It's just... So back onto Mercury Retrograde. I had these issues, and rather than me thinking about, okay, I heard about Mercury Retrograde, that's what's happening, this is definitive proof within my 3D experience, I thought, no, I'm not going to allow something to negatively impact my creation process. If the image wants to cut out, then maybe it's a positive sign for me to then start doing podcasts instead of YouTube videos. Why does everyone always look at the negatives of a situation? So I thought, okay, I'll do some podcasts. And I sat up and I shot, and the exposure's gone incredibly high again. It's because the sun's out. So I sat up and rearranged the entire room. I messaged some people over on my Facebook page, and I got them in for interviews, and we shot 4 hours of content, podcasts, clean, no issues, period. So that's like 13 podcasts right there. Now I'm gonna chop it up and pick the sections of the main topics and use that as the title. But by not looking at it as negative, as a sign for me to stop creating, period, and using it as an excuse to sit on my Todd and do nothing, Todd meaning the glutes, I literally looked at it as a positive sign to do something differently, and I got the information out that way. So what are you doing? Are you making excuses? Are you becoming spiritually aware and are still holding on to old behaviors of using these signs or pointing a finger at the external environment and saying how that external thing is determining your day? What I want you to do is, if you find yourself during this Mercury retrograde catching yourself doing this, I want you to then stop in your tracks, and instead of thinking about what just happened in front of you, think about a way to get around it and see how your life turns out. Okay, so I'm Ryan James Cropper, and I'm gonna be making a section on my website, ryancropper.com, where it's just videos just for that page over my website, ryancropper.com. They won't be on YouTube. If you want to know why, they're going to be more private, I suppose, and the people who are going to be on there are going to also be talking about things that are more private. So it's going to be on my website. It won't be password protected. It won't be just for site members only. Or shall I? That'd actually be a good idea. I'll just leave like a page and I'll put all the videos on there for you guys to check out. And I'll speak to you guys pretty soon.